There we go. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Saturday Morning Mastermind. I'm your host today, Samantha Studebaker Carl. I'm here in Indiana, and I'm here with my good friends Catherine and Jane, and we are continuing our discussion of Sacred Contracts by Carolyn Myss. Why does it do that with the background? It's so wonky. Okay, well, either way, you can see the top title. We're in chapter 6, titled The Chakras, Your Spiritual Backbone. And we are talking about the 7th chakra on page 175, if you're in the hard copy. But before we get going with that, I'm going to give my friends an opportunity to introduce themselves. And then Catherine, you can take it with the reading.
This is Jane Bench in Sykesville, Maryland.
Good morning. It's Catherine Clement. All right, we'll start here. The 7th chakra. The lesson is to live in the present moment. That's a good lesson. The power is inner divinity. The strengths, faith in the divine, as well as in inner guidance, insight into healing and devotion. The shadow side is the need to know why things happen as they do, which causes you to live in the past. Using your imagination, picture your archetypes descending into your 7th chakra, which is located just above the crown of your head. This is the area of the psychophysical body where divine energy, prana or chi, or the life force of the universe, enters your physical energy system. This is the initial point at which each archetypal pattern becomes personalized into your life. The universal child archetype, for instance, takes on the characteristics of your own inner child. At the 7th chakra, the child may announce itself in the form of inspiration or imagination, the ability to see things afresh without preconceptions. Our 7th chakra childlike inspirations, musings, or dreams coax us to make those dreams come true. In your lower chakras, the child patterns can be identified within physical expressions from childhood glee to petulance. On the material plane, the 7th chakra will evaluate the spiritual implications of an event or relationship, advising you whether it serves your highest potential. The 7th chakra's energy resonates with the imagination, with the greatest potential of the human spirit and the physical body. When athletes first aim to run a 4-minute mile, or aerospace engineers imagine that they could put a man on the moon, their idea of what was possible was a 7th chakra image. Every greater vision manifests as a personal goal when it descends into the 6th chakra, where visionary energy allies with that of the rational mind. In the Indian system, the 7th chakra is known as the 1,000-petaled lotus, an indication of the tremendous potential energy it holds. Lotus, just to be clear there. The locale of our spiritual aspiration and development, this energy center's power becomes available to us through meditation. The ancients described mystical experience as a sudden expansion of the energy of the 7th chakra, flooding into the psyche and soul, elevating one's entire being to a level of consciousness that is fully transcendent of the physical world. Over a century ago, the Canadian psychologist R.M. Buck labeled this experience cosmic consciousness. He believed that humanity was on the path to evolutionary change from self-consciousness to cosmic or spiritual consciousness, and he felt that this change would parallel the prehistoric shift from animal awareness to self-consciousness that marked the emergence of Homo sapiens. Buck based his theory on his experience of a moment of illumination in 1872, as well as on the records of mystical experiences of extraordinary individuals, including the Buddha, Jesus, St. Paul, Plotinus, Muhammad, Dante, St. John of the Cross, William Blake, Walt Whitman, Balzac, Spinoza, and Sri Ramakrishna. His evidence suggested to him that human spiritual evolution was accelerating. While the 3rd chakra is your seat of self-esteem and gut intuition, Your seventh energy center can inspire you to see beyond the limited range of the separate self and into transpersonal or cosmic vision. In an epiphany or awakening, the priorities of your inner perceptions are reordered to perceive the presence of the divine within your life. Einstein's discoveries of universal laws relied on the energy of his seventh chakra. Visionaries who foresaw great possibilities for humankind, such as Martin Luther King Jr., Gandhi, and Abraham Lincoln, also worked through the energy of this center. Do you want me to do the 6th, or are we going to discuss the 7th?
Oh, Samantha isn't here, right? It's just you and I?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Here.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, we could go ahead and read that one too.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
The 6th chakra, the lesson is seek only the truth. The power is wisdom. The strengths are intellectual skills, evaluation of insights, receiving inspiration, generating wisdom from experience. The shadow is defining the truth in self-serving ways. This chakra resonates with the pineal gland, which is located behind and between your eyes, and so is often called the third eye. The center of wisdom in the body, its power affects the intellect and your ability to articulate vision and inspiration. While we may be able to envision endless dreams and possibilities, we still need an instrument that is skilled at focusing attention and applying imagination. A focused mind and disciplined imagination are two of the strengths associated with the 6th chakra. Once you have the seed of an idea, your 6th chakra helps give it shape. You run the idea through your intelligence to see if you can work with it. You evaluate the idea intellectually and decide whether you want to, quote, manage the birth of this idea into its physical form. On the physical level, your 6th chakra mobilizes your intellect and attitudes to deal with any situation and communicates your ideas to those involved. This is also the energy center that empowers our attitudes, beliefs, memories, and the overall character of our rational mind. Whether we are fair and open-minded or judgmental and limited in our capacity to consider new ideas is a manifestation of how we direct the power of this chakra. When we speak of creating our own reality, we are referring to the 6th chakra laboratory in which that process occurs. When Thomas Edison needed to solve a problem with one of his inventions, he would engage in what we would call today active dreaming. He would sit in a rocking chair with the question in mind, rocking slowly and rhythmically while holding a small ball in each hand. When one of the balls dropped out of his hand, signaling that he had begun to doze, the sound of it hitting the floor would awaken him. Edison would then recall what he had been visualizing or dreaming about at that moment, and more often than not, it was a potential solution to his problem, or at least a step in the right direction. He was gaining access to the unconscious, allowing his inventor archetype free rein to interact with his 6th chakra. Once the solution had presented itself to him, he would weigh its implications and see how best to employ this latest bit of inspiration. Sir Isaac Newton, besides being a great scientific philosopher, was also deeply involved in alchemy and theology. Although he is now considered the embodiment of the rational mind, he relied greatly on the imaginative power of his 6th chakra. Newton felt that his imagination gained prominence as the sun went down, and that his intellect tended to take over as the sun came up. He would work until 1 or 2 in the morning, then go to sleep for a few hours, allowing his imagination to go to work. When he awoke, he would invoke his intellect to give shape to the ideas and fantasies that had been spawned while he slept. A man named Hank feels that his musician archetype best projects the power of his 6th chakra because he creates music that, quote, reflects my own reality. Although Hank is yet to make a name for himself, he believes that his psyche and soul are in complete harmony with the musician in him. I felt directed to write music since high school, he says. My world is constructed around this part of myself. Most of my mental energy is directed toward feeding the power of this archetype within me. And because this connection is so strong, it does not occur to me that I will fail. The use of visualization and positive thinking to maintain or restore physical health is an example of directing the power of the 6th chakra. The 6th chakra imagines a body that is free of illness and then pushes this energetic vision into the 5th, 4th, and remaining chakras to utilize their power as a united system to rebuild the physical form. The blueprint for the overall healing, however, begins in the mind. The energy of the 6th chakra connects with all the other power centers in the body.
Hmm.
Getting
I think
blinded.
that's, I'm sorry.
Thanks for reading, Catherine.
No, do you want to stop there and talk?
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
think
that sounds good.
that reminds me of Joe Dispenza and what he does and the healing that he, I don't, you know who he is, right? Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
and how he healed himself, and it sort of sounds like what he did using the 6th chakra, which is where the pineal gland is, and how he worked and visualized, and I mean it took him a while to figure it out, but he meticulously would visualize his spine, just in minute detail, just coming back together and healing. And I always thought that was such an incredible story. It really captured my imagination. But he's quite an interesting person. I mean, I think he shows that we all have the potential, but you just have to have really the insight and the drive to be able to do that, and the focus. And I think we all sort of, or at least, I would think you really have to, level yourself up quite a few notches there. So, but he is a living example. It's kind of exciting. But I liked that. I really liked that passage. And what I always found interesting too is the pineal gland. They say if it becomes calcified, have you both heard about this? If it becomes calcified, it disrupts its capability. And a lot of that is fluoride, which we've all been taking. And since I have, I've always, I've had for quite some time some gum and teeth issues, because I was a smoker. And so it's like, there's no way I cannot do fluoride, there's no way. So that's kind of a shame, because I kind of believe that if you lessen the amount of fluoride, that can help decalcify the pineal gland, Anyway, interesting passage. She writes so well, she
does.
Yeah, she really does. So anyway, that's all I have to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting learning about these different chakras and what they, the meanings behind them. But this the concept of the 7th chakra being where your ideas come from, and then the 6th chakra is where you work on them in your imagination. Is that what you kind of gathered from that?
Pretty much, yeah.
I think the 6th chakra also is where, like, your voice, that being able to speak your truth and
Right.
and
That's the next one down too.
All right, I was talking about the energy centers of our attitudes, beliefs, and memories, and overall character of our rational mind. Okay.
I'm gonna close my curtain so I'm not getting blinded. I'll be right back.
well, gee, I thought maybe there was a kind of a little halo kind of just sort of hovering around your head. I could see that light and wondered about that. I thought, wow, Catherine's like really up-leveled herself. Or your aura was just so bright today.
Have you guys had the aura pictures done?
No, have you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, that's very cool.
What
And
kind of
they're
camera
very
do they use for
interesting.
that?
what'd you say, Smith?
What kind of camera do they use for that?
What?
I don't know. It's some special kind though, you know.
Mhm. Hmm.
Did they say anything, what did they tell you about the picture? What did it depict?
I think
Or
it's called Curlian photography or something like that. Mine had a lot of yellow in it, which makes sense for me. I'm trying to think. It's been so long. It's been, I know, at least 20 years since I had
oh,
that.
really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you've been dipping your toe in this stuff for a long time, haven't you?
Oh, since I was 2. Yeah.
Two, really? And and
Yeah.
and is that because the Native American also has, a similar philosophy? So you must have grown up with kind of some spiritual leanings, correct? Or
I did, but it wasn't, it's never been something that's been enforced or accepted or encouraged by family. But I just kind of I got blown wide open at 2 because I tried to drink Drano. Um, and when it started burning my mouth and I wiped it up here and it was burning a hole here. And then I wiped it this way and then it was burning a hole here. If you have Drano in your house, just get rid of it. Like, it's so dangerous. But, it was also painful that I just popped out of my body. And I watched this little girl as she didn't even cry out loud. She just, because she knew she did something she wasn't supposed to do, right? So she didn't want to get in more trouble. And I watched her as she ran into the bedroom and cried herself to sleep. And um, I realized right then, I didn't understand it, but I realized that I was not my body. Right then and there at 2 years old, I knew that's not me because I'm here watching that. And I know that our psychiatrists like to call that different things, but I'm telling you, I know what it was because as I got older and I learned how to leave my body voluntarily, it was it was a reinforcement of what I already knew from the age of 2.
what?
So yeah, so and then I had my talk with Jesus out of body at 12, and that was more confirmation, especially him because I wasn't Christian. I didn't know why he was talking to me. But it's
Well, that must have been a little bit of an identity crisis. So you realized, eh, not, I would think, not too long after, that he was just a spiritual master on a high level with many others, and that
right,
you realized that Christianity was not the religion; it was
right,
one of the ways and paths, and probably
yeah,
realized too it wasn't maybe what the Christians really believe, the stories they all believed maybe were
right,
had been mucked with. So okay.
right. And I knew that because as I got sent to all these different churches as a small child, because my grandma was called me a heathen, she was trying to get me saved anywhere. She'd send me to all these churches on the church bus, and I knew as I sat there, I didn't know at the time I was an empath, but I knew that as these people spoke around me, I could feel the truthfulness or the dishonesty or the confusion. I could feel everything that was going on. And so I kind of, at the different churches, I could always feel that one source, that one point that was the same amongst all of them, although they all had their different rules and things like that. But even as a child, I knew which stories had been messed with. But yeah, so it's been really interesting and somewhat of a, like, meeting Jesus out of body. That did mess me up for a little while, not because of the conflict with Christianity, because I already knew that, but just because of the situation that was going on when that happened, and because of um gosh, it just, I don't know, it just opened me up again. Like, I just kept getting opened up more and more as we went along. And
Wow. Wow. I have another question. This, I don't remember hearing you talk about this. I'm sure you have before with this group, but I guess I came in for a reason today to hear this and be astonished and I'm loving it. But why would was your grandmother a Native American?
No,
Okay, that's why.
she was a white woman that married a Native American who
Okay.
turned out to be a pedophile. Yeah. So she
Who,
really hated Indians. She despised Native Americans.
because
She loved me. She
your
loved
father
me.
turned out to be a pedophile? Is that
My
what
grandfather.
your grandfather? Oh my God, her husband. Oh
Mm-hmm.
my God. What?
Yeah,
And you were not messed with, right? Or was she afraid?
I was, but that was later in life, and I was sent to meet him because I had never met him in person. I got to spend about a week with him, and evidently he was drugging me at the last meal of the day because I never remembered anything after. So it's stuff that I don't remember, but there were pictures taken, so we know it happened.
Well,
So yeah, but I can see, like, my grandma always told my mom not to have anything to do with her father, but she wouldn't tell her why. And so when I was about, I think I was maybe 13 or something like that, that's my mom, not knowing what he was, sent me to him. So had she known, she would never have obviously, let me go there. But
you're
I beautiful memories of my grandfather. I had never been around another Native American until I went and spent that week with him. And during the day, he was so loving and kind and gentle. And I mean, the wild deer would just come right up to him, and he had a very um, it was amazing meeting him and spending time with him. And thankfully, I don't remember the other stuff, but I think he just had a very twisted idea of love. That's the only way that I can really explain it. Like, I guess maybe not all pedophiles, but for him, I guess you can always see and feel the energy and light in children. And somehow that got twisted with love and perverseness. And, I don't judge him for that because Jesus told me at 12 years old, I can't judge anybody,
you okay. So you
which was
you're
completely different to what the churches were teaching me, which was judge everybody, right? So
pretty
that's
much.
why I said that experience with Jesus kind of messed with me a little bit.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What's so fabulous though is that you kept being validated and that you had all these experiences that continued to open you up,
Yeah.
and I'm a little bit jealous of that. I've always wanted some really amazing experience to validate what I've always felt deep down, but maybe I'm just not supposed to have that. I'm supposed to have something else, a deep belief, even though my life gets thrown to and fro, um, and I'm supposed to continue just holding on to that belief and having little glimpses of
Mm.
what the true reality is, but not something as explosive as you have had. So I'm going to try not to be jealous. but but it's like good for you. Wait a minute. I didn't realize it was so late. That's Jason. So it sounds like he might be jumping on, which
Oh, nice.
which would be wonderful. So
Yeah.
my goodness, that what a story. I mean, anything else you want to add that any I mean any I feel like I'm missing out on something because I haven't heard this story before.
Oh, well,
Was there more throughout your life that occurred?
oh, absolutely. I mean,
Oh,
I
it take too long
they warn me audibly in my ear, like they'll tell me you can't live there, there's going to be a flood when that place didn't flood and then it floods. I mean, I've had so many experiences, and I think that it's amazing that people can have faith without experiences. Like, I'm always making them prove it to me. They'll tell me something, I'm like, prove it to me, and then they'll show me something a few minutes later, or something else will happen that will confirm what they were telling me or whatnot. Like, I don't know why they picked somebody that's a little bit contrary, that challenges them all the time, like, sometimes even in one experience, several times, where I'm just like, really, are you serious? Like, this isn't. But they continue to talk to me. I think I make them laugh or something, probably. So you're like, this crazy girl.
No,
The flooding situation, I mean, that was crazy. I was in Colorado. It doesn't flood in Colorado, it's just very dry there. And I needed to move out of the mountains down closer because my commute to work was so long. And so I was looking at this house in the canyon, and it was perfect. It was beautiful. It was sitting right next to the little stream that flowed down, and you could hear it like it was constant water sounds. It was perfect. And as I'm standing there putting in the number on the phone to call the realtor, they're saying to me, no, it's going to flood. And I'm like, what are you talking about? It doesn't flood here, But because I have gone against what they told me in the past, I knew that it was safer for me to listen, So I'm like, all right, I won't get this house. So then I went down into Boulder, and I'm looking at apartments. And the apartments that I was looking at had ground floor and second floor. Now, I think at that point I was on 2 canes. I can't remember how. I wasn't out of the wheelchair for very long, And so I'm looking at these apartments, and I wanted the ground floor, and they're in my ear, and they're like, no, you have to be on the second floor. It's going to flood. And I'm like, who am I? Fucking no, excuse the language. But I mean, that was like, who am I? Why are you telling me this? So I argued. I'm like, I cannot do those stairs. I had a dog that had to be walked several times a day. I'm like, there's no way. They're like, and they're so calm, and they're so direct, and they're like, no, it's going to flood. I'm like, shit. So I took the top story, and in less than a week, we had 100-year flood. The house that I looked at in the canyon had been literally washed away. The apartments downstairs were completely flooded, but I was on the top floor, and I was untouched.
oh my God.
So it's amazing, and it's also makes you wonder whether you're crazy. But when you have things like that happen,
Mm-hmm.
it's not craziness, it's just happening. And why or how, I don't know. I have one elder native in spirit that protects me, actually 2, a male and a female, which I think are my great grandfather and his wife, because he was a medicine man in our tribe. And I think he has been teaching me spiritually since I was a very small child. And I always wondered if I was just imagining those things, because of course I have an amazing imagination. But I got it confirmed when I went to an energy healer one day, and she tried to start working on me, and they would not allow her to work on me. Like, suddenly she just stopped, and she says, I cannot work on you. And I said, why? And she said, because there's this native elder man at your head, and there's a native elder woman at your feet, and you are protected. I am not to work with you. And like my grandfather, she used a etheric, I'll call it drum, spiritual drum, that she played when she was healing
Mm-hmm.
people. My grandfather came in and took it away from her, which is something he would do because women were not supposed to drum. So you have to think about the times when they were alive.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, and I said, describe him to me. And she described exactly the spirit guide that I had been working with my whole life, which was huge confirmation, because I've never had anybody be able to confirm some things for me like that, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That's a fabulous story. I am so glad I jumped on today.
And
Honestly.
they guide me anytime I go to do a healing for somebody. They tell me what to take. They don't tell me why. That's me. I'm like, why? But they tell me, take this, take this, take this, do this. They guide me through the whole thing.
What do you mean by taking something with
Like,
you?
take this crystal, take that.
Oh.
Like one time it was take this snake head, which I have, which is inside of a shell. And I didn't want to take the snake. When I found the snake on the ground, I'm like, I don't want that. And they're like, this is for you. And I'm like, I don't want that.
It was a dead snake, and
It was a dead snake that
Okay.
was in the path that I had already walked twice that day, and it looked like it was 100 years old. And I knew it hadn't been there earlier in the day. So I'm like, is this for me? And they're like, yes. And I'm like, no, it's not for me. If it's for me, give me a sign. And so I took a step across it, and I took 2 more steps. And on the 3rd step, there was a blue feather in the path. I'm like, shit, there you go. Like, gotta take it. So then I'm trying to take the tail, and they're like, no, take the head. I'm like, I don't want the head, I don't want. And they're like, take the head. And I'm trying to, this thing looks like you could just, and it would just be dust, and I'm trying to take the tail, and it will not break off of there. And finally I listen, they're like, take the head, take the head, take the head. So when I go to take the head, it just snaps right off in my hand. I took it, put it inside of the shell that I was going to burn the sage, leave the sage burning in that shell. And I took it. I didn't tell the lady that I had that with me. So I get there, within seconds, she's out because she was so sick. She was like gray and septic. She had bilateral kidney infections up in her kidneys, not like a UTI. She was like super, super sick. And I said, as I was working on her, because she was asleep, as I was working on her, I kept seeing these fuzzy balls that would like kind of jump up off of her body and then go off into the air. And I just kept clearing these things and clearing these things and clearing these things. And so finally, when I got done, I told her son, when she wakes up, have her call me. And she slept a long time, like 10 hours or something. And so she finally called me, and I said, did you have any dreams, or do you remember anything? Because you went to sleep very quickly during the healing. And she said, yes. She said, I had a dream that I had these black ants crawling off of me, and then they would jump off of me and they would turn into snake heads. Well, I hadn't told her any of that. So I don't understand that. She got a complete healing. She was healed. But I don't understand any of it, like how it worked or why it worked, but I still have the snake head because it's powerful medicine. And that's been 20 years ago that happened, at least. So.
Wow. So
yeah.
you were kind of told what to do all along the way. It's not like you use like Reiki or whatever, right?
I have studied so many energy modalities. I've studied them, but what I just used naturally, that I used as a child and kind of grew up with whatever my grandfather told me or whatever, that seems to work the best for me instead of all these other modalities. But there is one modality that's super helpful. It was I forget what they call it now, but it was like a sacred geometry. It was like a mixture of spiritual healing and
sacred geometry. Is that what you said?
yeah, I don't want to, it's not like I wasn't doing acupuncture, but it was definitely showing me some of the points that they use.
Oh, okay.
What I see is like these, I would almost call it like a neon light that connects between different points of people's bodies in these sacred geometric shapes. And it kind of shows me how they're energetically working, and I see this in my mind's eye. I'll call it that. I see it in my mind's eye. And using the combination of what I naturally do with that visual guidance has come up with some instantaneous healings for people. So I think just being open to things coming in whatever way they come and not in the way that you expect them to come is huge, because
Hmm.
they're
Do you,
so calm and quiet and unassuming that it's very easy to miss the messages. You know what I
oh,
mean?
yeah. Wow. Um, and you still do healings like that?
I do when I can. I don't. I For a while I kind of tried to do it as a business, and it never felt right. I never felt right charging for my services, even though I've spent a lot of money studying, um, because I always go back to what I did at 2 years old, so
Mm-hmm.
because I would run around naked healing stuff with my hands. That's why my grandma called me a heathen.
A heathen. Okay. Yeah,
So,
I guess so. It looked different than any healer she's ever seen. so but yeah, like if somebody knew of your capability and asked you, obviously you have mobility problems. I mean, I haven't talked to you lately about that, how you're doing, but I would assume you still have some mobility problems. So somebody would come to you perhaps, or can you do that long distance, like from a
oh, absolutely, you can do it long distance.
oh, really? Like from a telephone call or, oh, wow.
Yeah,
Um, well, gee, can I ask you, can I ask you to do that for me at some point
sure,
in time? Really?
absolutely.
Uh,
Yeah.
that would be lovely. So what would you do? Just we would Zoom, or you would give me your phone number, or how would that
Zoom
work?
works great because it's kind of like being in the room with somebody,
Oh, that
you know.
would be fabulous. I'll communicate with you via the messenger, like when we might be able to do that. Okay. With
Awesome.
you that. And,
I'll start asking what they want for you, and
oh,
yeah,
please,
yeah.
yeah, that would be miraculous. Yeah, and I would have no problem um um giving you something in exchange for that. But if now you can take funds, money for that, do you feel that you
Still
can?
don't feel right about that. I don't know. It's like charging people for smiles or something. I don't know.
You are so dear. Well, whatever you want, however you want to handle it is fine. So,
Perfect. Yeah,
okay.
we'll set that up. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank
Because
you.
it is always a gift to be able to work with someone energetically, and
Oh,
but
thank
phones are great. I mean, I've sung that's another thing I do. I sing people over from this life into the next. And
What do you mean you
that
start
is,
over? You help them cross in
yes,
transition. I
yes,
see. Okay.
yes, energetically.
Right.
Um, and it is the vibration of the song helps lift them up. Uh, a lot of people don't want to release from their bodies because so and so hasn't said goodbye, or they're afraid that so and so is going to fall apart, or whatever, all these different things. But and that is such a gift to be able to help people cross over, especially when they go like super peacefully, and it's it's I think better on the family, because I try to get the family around and engaged with the person rather than arguing about who's going to get what when they're gone. And like, because families go crazy when people are dying, I'm telling you. So
I yeah.
I'm not a hospice nurse, although I could have been. If my back wasn't bad, I would have made a great hospice nurse. But I worked with babies because that's what my back could handle. And I've crossed lots of babies over, and then I've crossed lots of people over. I call it singing souls home, or and it's, to me, leaving this life experience is more beautiful than coming into it. Like, it's just because I know where they're going, and I know how beautiful that is, and I hold that love inside, and that's why I can let people go easily, because I know where they're headed, because there isn't like a heaven and a hell sort of thing. So it's just love, and that's not sad to me at all. And that has put me at opposition with people, and especially family, because they have certain ideas about how sad you need to be when somebody dies, and I'm just like celebrating. So, I mean, I celebrate their life, but I'm also celebrating that they're leaving this life and
Right,
going
because this
on.
life can be very painful at times.
Exactly.
You're going something where there is no pain. Yeah. I totally believe that. My spiritual community calls it a celebration of life.
Exactly.
You're celebrating, what they accomplished, who they were in this life, and looking at the good that they, you don't focus on, the difficulty, you focus on the good and who they were.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I get it, but I'm curious, you said hell, that there is a hell over there, or you're talking about just there's a darkness here and there. No. Oh, because you mentioned hell, that there is.
I was not shown, I have not been shown anything about hell from any of my guides
Okay.
throughout my life.
Okay, because you just mentioned it. I thought I heard you say hell,
Mhm.
that there's a heaven and there's a hell, but no,
I
I must
don't
have
believe
heard
there's
that.
a hell.
Okay, good, because that's what I believe. I don't believe that there is a hell. I
I
think
think people put themselves in their own hell
exactly
very easily with misguided focus.
right, and I think there's some dark energies that
Mhm.
we run across, and that infiltrate this 3D world to try to pull us back down, because they don't want us to keep rising in consciousness on this physical earth, right? At least that's what I believe.
I think that spirits that are not completely transitioned um, can try to cling to people because they're kind of in this limbo sort of place, and I think that, like, I have never met evil in spirit form. I have met evil in human form multiple times throughout my life, but I've never met evil in spirit form. So I really just think that they play evil parts here, but they're still a beautiful and divine part of God in spirit form. And I think God gives us free will to come here and play all those parts, because if there wasn't an evil person, then the good people wouldn't step up sometimes. You know what I mean? So I think
You have to
this,
have that duality for us to
yeah,
experience life to the fullest, and we make decisions about who we want to be, and of course the better decisions are to be love, but people choose the opposite of that, or some variation in between oftentimes, and we can choose again when we realize that is the better choice, to be love. So yeah, I believe that, and I believe that God flows through us, and so it's experiencing everything that we're experiencing, and so
yeah,
that's why, I mean, you're really one with, I mean, your guides and these entities, these spiritual entities on the other side, know you, they flow through you, they know exactly what you're thinking and doing, so that's where they're here to help you to gain a footing, and that's just beautiful, and you're lucky that you have that awareness. You
yeah.
really are, like I said, I mean, I believe it's there, but I don't have the kind of communication that you do. And it would be a blessing for me if that occurred. But so yeah, good for you. Yeah.
You never know because you never expect it when it comes. I mean, that's always just
Well, I keep asking for that blessing, but again, it's God's. Not my timing.
that's very true.
Yeah. So um but anyway, I really, really look forward to working with you. So
Yes.
I don't want to hijack this discussion anymore, but thank you for taking the time. Um, so yeah, just thank you. So I don't know if you want to, Samantha wants to say anything, or you want to say something further, or you want to start reading again. I saw Jason a message from him, and I saw Lori, but neither one of them are jumping on, are they?
No, it doesn't look like it. That's
Yeah.
all right because I got to jump off here and just like
Oh,
I
you
got
do?
another
Okay,
meeting. I
well,
have.
I was
Yeah.
lucky to jump on today. Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
Samantha, you also, I think, probably have to go, don't you?
Yeah, we do. We all have things going on the
Oh,
rest of the day. So, but
absolutely.
yeah, we come on here and we talk about what needs to be talked about. And that's always the way it works out. So I'm
Man,
glad you came on today, Jane,
I
and
am too. I
that you
am
were
too.
able to
Yeah.
gain the insights and the book's great too. But it's
Yes.
the conversation. That's what always makes it work and makes it
Right.
so that it's a blessing for all of us.
Right. Because we're all connected, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I forget that other people don't get the same communication that I get, and
Oh,
that's so
no.
that's a gift to me,
Yeah.
to
Yeah. And I'm lucky I jumped on. That's all I need to say. Thank you again. It's been a blessing. So,
it's a beautiful, and it's my birthday, so that's a beautiful
oh
gift to me for my
my God.
birthday.
Yeah,
So
I was
Oh
just
my
gonna say
God.
happy birthday to you. I'm
Oh
getting all
yeah.
these notifications popping up, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's Catherine's birthday. I have to say something.
Happy,
Happy birthday.
happy
thank
birthday.
you. Thank you.
Have a wonderful day. All right.
Awesome,
Thank
I'll
guys.
be in touch. Okay.
Yep.
All
Have a
right.
great, awesome, amazing week. We'll see you next time.
All right. Bye
Okay.
bye.
Love
Bye.
you.
Love you. Thank you.